here, so I don't really trust the incendiaries in that way. I feel like it's a little bit too risky, but maybe they could adjust it. I think he was probably trying to time it off when the T grenades were coming in, and the delay in those timings was so narrow that he had no chance to really slow them down. So I guess more credit to TYLOO for really hitting an aggressive timing between their own grenades and actually being on the site. Like, it was very hard to read. DGT in both a risky but also a sometimes overlooked position here. So we'll see if he's going to be rewarded for it. If they try and come through the smoke, he's going to be fine.
Trying to open that. Oh, the wall of smoke. They do spot the player. And Mayan gets it on the second time of asking, but two have already pushed down into secret. They haven't dealt with Luchov just yet. He's waiting. Smoke has been fully plumed. Still time on the clock, though, and Oja is looking for the potential main player. It's not there, though. They're already downstairs. They've rotated pretty quickly. And Mayan is still watching outside, but he's still nervous about a potential ramp push. He's essentially watching a 360-degree angle right now, by himself.
Yeah, and that should tell you something. That should tell you that you're in the wrong position. If you're trying to do that in Counter-Strike, it means something's kind of gone wrong on the defense. It's ambitious, but I would say if you're holding probably more than one angle, it's a bit of an issue there. Luchov gets one. He's been, I think, the real revelation for this team in the last couple of months. Came onto the team really with a bang without having much of a brand behind him. Mayan's going to get a kill there, taking out Jam Young. This is when XSE has a chance to really take the lead. Only 7 seconds left in the round, and the bomb being attempted, but it's been delayed once again. Wazo peak, and now they can't win the round any longer. I think Moja going to be kind of hiding on the site. They don't really want to push him. I don't blame them for it here either, XSE. I don't think it's worth it to kind of go for it. They're going to get the round lead, and this is super impressive. They're back into it. They only got, I say only, but they got 5 rounds in the first half. That's after winning the pistol round on the T side. So the fact that they're now recovering very nicely here early on, and especially this round where TYLOO finally had some rifles, is great news.
Yeah, I think the reason why you almost want to say only 5 rounds is because of that 3-0 start and the nature and how they were just smacking TYLOO around in those 3-0 lead. And then they picked up, you know, the last round of the half as well. So it was very barren in the mid portion of the first half if you didn't get a chance to see it yourselves. So a real turnaround here for XSE. 4 out of 5 rounds on their CT side thus far. This is kind of what we were expecting, though. This is their home side. This is where they feel most comfortable. This is where they absolutely destroyed Vitality 10-2 back at the Major. So we know they've got a rock-solid CT side. It's up to TYLOO to try and find a way in. We saw one of their only bits of success. Also, keep in mind, and it's off the back of a Tech 9 rush on A. So is that something you can rinse and repeat with?
Yeah, that round was spectacular. I'd love to see more of that coming out. DGT, look at him here, sneaking out. Teammate is providing some distractions, but I don't think anyone from TYLOO has even indicated that they know that this is happening. If he finds the timing walking through, they're right behind on the red container, lined up for him. DGT, it's a big double kill. It could have been more sure, but I think you'll definitely take that every single time. Very nicely played, and you know, the few shots coming out from Luchov behind him as well, I think making a pretty nice difference in keeping TYLOO occupied and worried that they were going to be attacked on the other side. It's very well done.
Yeah, really trying to mess with a sensory overload, keep TYLOO guessing and unsure in all the frantic chaos. And now maneuvering their way back into lobby, but there's only 45 seconds. They had no controls. The CTs are pushed into lobby as it stands. The timing here could still favor TYLOO, though.
This is such an off angle, though. We'll see if they can clear it, but I don't think it'll be easy. You don't want to be throwing the grenades here either, because that will definitely give him away. You can see Luchov, 1 kill should be enough. They've got the man lead, and we're sub 30 seconds. Jam Young and Mercury, and again, the flank is on here. Oh, XSE. There's such a more involved CT side than TYLOO had. They were so defensive, and we spoke about it quite a bit, but this is a way more active XSE. They are out looking for the kills. They're looking for the flanks, and honestly, it's working. It's tremendously difficult for TYLOO to have a reasonable call in a round like this one, because they can't even take some of the normal T positions. Like, they're getting attacked out here by the red container. They lose lobby control, like you pointed out. Makes it very, very hard to call around. I like this from XSE. They're putting the pressure on.
And I honestly think that this is also just a lot of research that's been done, because TYLOO typically on their T side of Nuke especially, but they sometimes fall prey to this on other maps, are very one-dimensional. You'll see these wall smokes, you'll see the fast A hits. A good way of countering that is to get aggressive and go for rotations. There were 3 separate rotations in that last round from 9Z, outside and into lobby. Great opening pick though from Jamyoung, but now they're going to sprawl straight out of ramp. Mayan is watching, gets mollied out down to 37 HP. But now Luchov in the vent is able to strike for 1.
That is one of the few kills that maybe could have brought them back here, but to be honest, Mayan and Luchov are already low on health. They don't have a ton of money. I wouldn't hate it if 9C are close to backing out of this round. It's always a bit weird on Nuke, because you can have these like 4-on-4, even 5-on-5 full-on saves from the CT side, but yeah, you look at the health that's left, you look at the money in the bank, I don't think it's worth it to risk it, and they don't think so either. They've already walked away. That one kill towards the ramp made a huge difference, and the fact that they also slowed down, like they could have pushed into Mayan on the AWP, but they slowed it down. They threw the Molotov to get rid of him, holding towards Hell there. All in all, I think very, very good for TYLOO. Like a lot of speed once they get the kill, but not so much speed that they get themselves killed against the AWP. Pretty good stuff. 10-9. And like I said, a reasonable choice, I think, for 9C to back out of the round.
I think it's also an indicator as well as how important it is, if you're going to take ramp, that you get that first trade as clean as possible. Because you can imagine if Max there gets a kill or even 2 or severely weakens 2 or 3 players, they're going to be way less likely to have a Molotov out, anticipating that peak coming in from the AWP of elbow. And that's where things can get really dicey and really weird real quick. So again, massive credit to that. Super clean entry. And this is where TYLOO and that one-dimensional hit can really work in their favor. It's like a fist just plowing through and smacking you straight in the face. DGT, though, is able to counter that and land one of his own. And now it's looking even better for 9Z as they've picked up the second frag. TYLOO in the back foot.
Oh, this really justifies the save as well in the other round. This is what you're hoping for when you concede a round in a 4-on-4. It can feel a bit empty. You go into the next round and then you just kind of lose everything anyway, and you're like, oh, well, then we should have just fought for the last round, is what it feels like. But I think you come into this one now and you think that's exactly the right move. Mayan has got over $7,000, but you could see the rest of them are still fairly low on money. That's maybe the one big way that TYLOO could get back into this game, is if they can start to steal the money away from 9C. It's a very different matchup. 3 versus 5, and they spot the outside push. It's a great grenade, but just I think having the information is enough here. You don't really have to fight this if you're 9C. Oh, and they flanked around. Are they already up on the silo? Am I just making that up? I feel like Luchov, yeah. Mercury, I think, has just realized, wait a minute, something is up here. This is insanely aggressive. DGT does go down. Luchov, though, flanking and shooting G in the back. He actually went off the silo to go down instead, but again, the sheer aggression here from the 9C side, they can't hold on. TYLOO are losing all of the map control. This is a crazy CT side so far.
Yeah, I think, again, it's TYLOO's propensity to just going very one-dimensionally and just pushing together as a unit. And 9Z are playing it perfectly. Exquisite CT side as far as they're concerned. Just the 2 conceded rounds. But as you highlight, they also have very quick calls when it comes to when they're losing a round. They don't let their egos get involved. They don't get greedy. It's like, right, we've lost a couple of players, we're saving. We're keeping the rifles. We're keeping the AKs in play, because that's going to be a bigger picture thing. And we've seen it twice come full circle and getting those rounds afterwards. So TYLOO, I mean, what a dread-inducing position that is. You're trying to push outside and suddenly, hold on, there's a player behind us in top silo. Like, how the hell do you even deal with that?
Yeah, I guess they don't know either. They don't have the answer, unfortunately. But could see Soaking is getting involved here. He's looked like he was scolding them for a second, and maybe that's exactly the conversation they're having. Is like, how do we keep losing map control? Why are we getting flanked by a red container? Why are we allowing Luchov to get up on the silo? If the CTs are that free to move around and nobody's holding them, I mean, this is why most teams have what we call the 4-1 split, where you have one player guarding lobby or one player guarding outside. So exactly for this reason, you want to stop the CTs from being able to do all this stuff.
Exactly. That's what they've gone for in this round. More of a default. Mosier is the guy for the job. He's watching ramp push. They've had enough of being flanked. But the issue with this is it doesn't necessarily allow you to have that hyper-aggressive style that TYLOO want to go for when it comes to exploding outside behind the smoke wall. So it does give you some safety, but it also does weaken you in some other elements. It's playing a balancing act. And also, a shout out to Mayan. I called him out in the first half for not having a great game. He was 2-9, he's now 10-11. He's really stepped it up.
Yeah, started with the dualies here at the second half. Now it's Luchov getting jumped on, and actually they get a dink on the Mercury as well, but the fight just continues out here. Max wants to go for it. Straight headshot to bring down Mercury. I think he might have heard the dink earlier, might have sensed that there was a low health player out there. Zero and Mosier, 2 versus 3, and I was going to say, Max, you don't really need to do this. I love this reposition. If he would have peeked that, I would have been upset. Now, the only problem is Mayan, surely he knows that no one's holding behind him, although he's pretending like he's not. I'm kind of shocked by this. This is clear miscommunication coming out from the 9C side. Unfortunately, we're going to have to be critical about that. I'm not sure that's Mayan's fault. I think Max hasn't told his team that he's fallen that far back. Something went horribly wrong in that defense.
Yeah, it looks really bad for Mayan, but like you say, we don't know the ins and outs of the communications. What we do know is he was completely oblivious to what was happening. And now Max and Bozo peek between the two of them of trying to get this done, and they have. They both peek simultaneously and rip away the dreams of TYLOO, who now find themselves 3 map points behind. Yes, it is 9Z's choice of map, but they would have felt like they had a chance in that round. They'd had a chance throughout the entirety of this map to get it done. And now they're peering at the very real possibility they're about to go 1-0 down in this first quarterfinal.
Oh, the mistake there between Mayan and Max, whoever is responsible, that was the opening right here for TYLOO to get back into it. But what a retake. Deadly shots coming out. 12-9. And like you said, 3 attempts right now for TYLOO to get this one to OT. Otherwise, they will be in a lot of trouble being down early on. Mirage and Inferno, the second and third map, and I guess that is kind of interesting. I do think if we can get onto a third map, then again, TYLOO might have a bit of a chance to bounce back in this one, but I guess we should also say 9C did pick this one, although both teams are very good at it, so TYLOO might also feel comfortable on Mirage, which is the second. Luchov starts us off. It's Jam Young trying to get back in. It's a headshot. He's down and looking for the shot. But what a position for Waso Peak. He takes down 2, and it's all up to Zero with not really much of a chance here. Great spray down, and 9C, they started off strong, and then they disappeared a little bit in the first half, and then they bounced back. Second half looking great. Mayan with a triple kill on the dualies in the pistol round, and they continue on with a very aggressive CT side. I know you must have enjoyed that as well, Vince. Like the sheer speed with which they took some of that control on the CT side. It's very cool.
Yeah, and it's not typically a map that lends itself to CT aggression. You know, if you're thinking of maps like that, you're thinking of like an Ancient, you're thinking of maybe like an Anubis as well. Not necessarily Nuke, but they've made it work. And it just goes to show again, this is why we had faith in them, even after a fairly lackluster first half that looked like it was falling apart. We know their CT side is a fortress, and they showed us again there. Why? And it's not even that TYLOO played horribly. Like, that's the other thing. People are going to look at this and think, TYLOO crumbled. They actually had some pretty solid players popping off. Zero had a good series here in the first map. It just wasn't enough at the end of the day.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, this is also a game where I think Jam Young showed us mechanically what he could do. Like, it looked very impressive, but probably the main problem was that T side where they allow or they don't recognize how much 9C is pushing. That really hurt them quite a bit, so would have been fun to see. But yeah, Jam Young on top of the scoreboard, we do love to see that. And I guess overall, like, nobody was really underperforming either on the TYLOO side, so it's not a bad look for them necessarily. But yeah, 9C, I'm impressed all around. I think this is really cool. Got any thoughts, Vince, about Mirage that's kind of coming up as our second map here? Is there a chance for TYLOO to bounce back on this one?
I think there is. I mean, you look at the stats as well for 9Z, they played it 9 times, 33% win rate, but I would like to just draw attention to the fact that the vast majority of those losses were at the Major. They lost twice to Spirit, they beat Vitality on this map, and they lost to Furia, so it's like, fair enough. They're a good team when it comes to Mirage. It's going to be an interesting one.
Okay, that's important context. I like the fact that you brought that up. I mean, that's one of those things sometimes you can get a bit distracted by the win percentage. It can be dangerous to look at that just alone. So I enjoy that. That's worth keeping in mind. We'll get into it a little bit when we get onto the map itself. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mirage is going to be a good comeback map as well. coming into to the second one there. Picked by TYLOO, ending on Inferno if it goes the full distance, which we definitely would love to see here. We're finally at the playoffs here at the XSE Pro League, and yeah, we've been waiting for a while. We've had like, what, 3 days, 4 days of break between the two different stages, so everyone should be fresh and ready for this one.
They should indeed, Anders, and I believe that's where we're going to throw it to a break. When you join us, we'll be live for that second map of Mirage, and we'll see if TYLOO can keep their dreams alive here at XSE.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready here. It's map number 2. You are watching the XSE Pro League in Guangzhou, China. My name is Anders. With me is Vince. And Vince, we got through that first map. I must say, in a bit of a surprising fashion, it looked to me like TYLOO, once they kind of got fired up and ready, mechanically they looked very strong, but 9C made a great comeback themselves, ended up winning their own map pick, which now puts us onto Mirage, this second map in the series.
Exactly, perfectly recapped. Yes, it was a bit of a roller coaster of emotions for both teams. I would think it would be safe to say, but TYLOO in front of their home crowd succumbing and just finishing a few steps behind. They've got a chance now. Mirage, we did discuss this just a tad before we went to the break, that it is a very strong map for TYLOO, but also maybe a deceptively strong map for 9Z as well. You look purely at the stats and it would seem like this is very one-sided on paper, but do keep in mind that the two teams are typically playing against completely different levels of opposition. However, with that all being said, TYLOO have a real chance here, Anders. I think that there is a way forward to getting to Inferno, and if it does go to Inferno, it's genuinely a coin flip as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we like those. Inferno is the deciding series here, the deciding map in the series. That in itself could be pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm going to be curious to see if some of the stuff that we learned on the opening map can be brought over into this one. Obviously, I think most notably was some of the very aggressive CT moves that were coming out from 9C. And you can do the same thing, and maybe not quite as crazily as a nuke, but there are pushes on the CT side of Mirage that could definitely be done that could put you behind the enemy lines. I mean, you push the Palace over on the A side, you push the B hallways. I would even say 9C is a team that will sometimes do this kind of a thing. So hopefully TYLOO are ready, and they kind of, in the post-game, they had a conversation about that. It will, by the way, be 9C starting on the CT side and TYLOO on the T side. So once again, welcome back, everybody. We are good and ready to go. So yeah, let's see what kind of game plan TYLOO come into this one. This is their own map pick, so you'd love to see them with a bit of a strong start here. Also, just mentioning it early on, I'm not seeing the smoke kit combination, so it's going to be all guns out here for 9C.
That is very true. A bit of utility for Mercury, as once again, Jam Young, as he did on the T side of Nuke, has that P250 by his name. He did get a frag, so we'll see if he can rinse and repeat and emulate that again. And I like that TYLOO just mixing up the pace. So aggressive on that T side of Nuke, but just slowly meandering their way through onto the underpass area. Very split up as well. 2 players top of mid. They have 0 to try and pivot off in Palace, but still tons of time left on the clock.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Zero. He might have a pivotal role in this. They flash their way into connector. Wasso Peak, though, shuts down Jam Young. That's such a clean shot coming out. And Zero's activated, and he's still done his job perfectly. That's more than you could have expected there, taking down DGT. Mayan, he's gooshed up on the ramp himself. Oh, it's again a shot from Wasso Peak. This guy is clean. Zero is gone. And Moja and G, they're now forward. He's pushing with the bomb here. This is in CT spawn. He's got the bomb, and that's so distracting that Moja sneaks in a kill, and suddenly we're back into a 2 versus 1 here. G, what can you do? You've got 30 seconds, and they know that he's back here. They know that he has so I'd say this is a very tough round for G to win. Definitely not impossible, but a bit of an uphill battle. 20 seconds now on the clock, and he's being flanked even as we speak. I think this might just be it. Max has found a very, very good timing. Runs up and at least stops the bomb run, and now it's way more difficult here. G in trouble. Mayan trying to disconnect, and he's back around the corner. And I think that was the only chance here for G. If he found the kill on Mayan, then he's got an open way to a bomb plant. But now he's sandwiched in. He gets the bomb planted, but he should be dead, and he will be.
Man, he had a guardian angel watching over him that entire round. It looked like he's going to die about 3 or 4 times. And I do agree, it's a bit of a head scratcher at first when you take out the situation, the context of what was happening. But I have no issue with him pushing on T-spawn with the bomb. It was a 4v2. Going back to the A site was the obvious call, and they would have just been picked off from multiple angles. They didn't know, or at least they probably realized the chance that there was a player down in ramp. And so I just think they would have been pincered and essentially surgically removed. So I like that G tried to take the initiative and impose his own will and impose his own ability when it comes to that aim. And it nearly paid off for him. However, they did force a plant down, Anders. So that's going to yield now 4 Galils and a Tech 9. The danger is far from over.
Yeah, to be honest, I think even getting a bomb plant in that 2v1 in itself is kind of a great victory. A lot of different ways that could have gone horribly wrong. So the early buy, like you said, has come out here. Only 1 helmet missing on Mayan. Not the end of the world, but definitely one of those positions, one of those features that can have a big impact on the round. And they are all of them headed towards this ramp and palace side. Sees the elbow of one player, but that's Wasso Peak just immediately throwing down a smoke. And he's going to start to back on out. They don't have a ton of utility, to be honest, on the CT side. Certainly not enough, I think, for any strong retakes. So they almost have to fight, I think, before the bomb goes down. And they're set up for it as well. Wasso Peak is here. He's got Mayan behind him with a flash. They could... Oh, yeah, he's going to flash it in already. The timing is kind of sick. He's going to get the first one only, but I thought that would have been more. I thought they had a real chance for a multi-spray down. It'll be Mayan instead. 20 bullets on the M4A1, and he gets 4 kills with it. An absolutely ridiculous defense coming out for Mayan.
What a turnaround as well, man. That first half would have been a real one to forget as fast as possible from his perspective, but he had a massive upstart, a huge upward trend in that second, and now just igniting into Mirage. And Moja, he does look quite sick, doesn't he? Like, every time the camera pans to him, he looks like he's drained of energy. Had a rough second half on Nuke. I hope he's all right.
Yeah, well, they're going to be put on the back burner for a little bit now, aren't they, TYLOO? Back to some upgraded pistols and not much else. Testing out the limits with the Deagle. It'll be 0 to go down. Picked up another one, so sort of a hero Deagle situation. Jam Young, I was going to say, probably one of the players I don't want to be facing into if I'm maxed there, but he's confident in his own abilities. And the Deagle's been defeated twice now. G to go down next. They know that someone's back there, so Mercury's not really the issue. He's been identified, and now he's locked in. No chance to escape the kitchen whatsoever. Great defense. 9C, again, coming out fresh. I mean, they've won, every pistol round so far? 3 for 3 at the moment. And I think that just sets you up nicely in an MR12 game. That's going to be pretty good.
Also goes to show how much TYLOO battled back on Nuke. There was a 13-9, conceding multiple pistols, and the rounds that follow that as well, of course. So we're in an identical position over on Nuke. Totally different playground, though, of course. But can TYLOO bounce back with these rifles? Exactly what they did on Nuke. As soon as they had a decent firepower and economy behind it, they started to shine bright, albeit on the CT side. Luchov Maneuvering away into the smoke, throwing the Molotov to the top boxes, trying to draw out the T's, but it's a good flashbang that allows Mayan just a little bit more wiggle room to back off. So although TYLOO have been flirting with the idea of taking middle, so far they're kind of stuck towards the top side. Now, Mosia's making moves down onto the balcony, but it's going to be a beautiful headshot onto Mayan. I thought he'd have had him dead to rights. He must have been looking towards Con instead.
Yeah, and I think the flashbang from the B bomb site there alerted Mosia to the idea that someone could have been there. You could see that flash going over the wall. It's such a cool flashbang to be able to throw from B into middle for the peak, but there wasn't much of a fight here. 9C, they have so many people near the middle, but they haven't been able to do anything. I think this is kind of disappointing. 3 or almost 4 people from 9C were ready to fight middle, but none of them fought together. And instead, they get bounced on from the connector. Mosia got that early kill, taking down a player on shorts. This has just been very, very efficient. I think kind of a bit disappointing for 9C. I guess they got smoked off themselves towards connector, but at that point, I would say you either make the decision to leave and just say, okay, you guys can have connector, I suppose, or you fight through it and you try to, blow open the smoke or whatever. They even, like I said, they had a flashbang coming in from B. I feel like 9C, they had all of the pieces in the right position. They just didn't really do what I wanted there, or at least what I think was open to them. DGT is going to have to try and save the gun. Of course, TYLOO answered back early.
Yeah, I think that's one of the concerns for me, Mayan as an AWPer from time to time. His positioning just feels like it's a little bit off. Like we saw from the perspective of Mosia landing that beautiful one-tap over on the bench. But Mayan is out in the open. I understand he was flashed, he was smoked, he was kind of pushed and bullied around for a fair few seconds beforehand. But typically what AWPs will do is hold the tight angle on the jump-up box, look towards the chair, or for the push around the corner of catwalk. Especially, you can see the smoke down as he dies. He's not going to have any help from connector. So he's essentially just trying to watch multiple angles in a weird position where even if you don't get headshot from Mosia, you're susceptible to being naded and Molotoved out of position in that spot. So those are the little mistakes that can creep in from time to time.
Yeah, small mistakes, but potentially big outcomes or a big result from them. Jamyoung back here. They might feel like they've Molotov this out, but he somehow was around the incendiary. I think DDT is automatically dead. Flashbang, I don't even think was necessary. They had so much trust in the early incendiary to burn out any position there, and it didn't. I don't know why, if it failed, or Jamyoung just found like a sneaky, little position to play in. Regardless, it's an annoying way to die early on from DGT, and the first sign, I would say, of real CT aggression that we've seen from them here, where they try to push that top mid position a little bit, but not fully committed to it either. Backfires on them. Now it's a 4-on-5.
And TYLOO slow down the pace. Love to see this. It was hyper aggression on Nuke that yielded them a little bit of success, but just playing with their food a little bit, allowing these smokes to fully plume. Get into the heads of 9Z. Luchov, good angle. First frag comes through, but he's never likely to get 2. However, they may not anticipate the max up close, but they do, and G takes his head straight off. And although Mayan is keeping them alive by the thinnest of margins, eventually the T's are going to force their way through onto the site.
Great aggression here from TYLOO once again. They didn't flash their way into the ladder room, which is kind of interesting, but because they trade out the kills and they're so quick to follow up, it's too much for the defense. And yeah, Mayan and Wazo Peak, definitely better to walk away from this one. Again, you've got the round lead, you don't have a lot of money. It's just pretty easy math for them to decide here. Very curious, because I think they had flashbangs, TYLOO, to try and flash that ladder room, and that I think is the more common way to do it. But doing it with no warning and still trading out, even in spite of the fact that he lost that early one. Good stuff here. Second round on the board for TYLOO. Really the crowd being a bit excited. They definitely were on their side early in the day. We kind of got to check in with Banks, who's down there in China as well. Definitely seemed like they had a lot of local fans, so that's exciting.
Yeah, it is, and unfortunately we did have to say goodbye to Lin Vision earlier, so the only Chinese team left, of course, is TYLOO to rep their home country.
See, they had so much success with it on Nuke that I definitely welcome the return.